Support for Outdoor Nevada comes from Land Rover Las Vegas and Jaguar Land Rover Reno, proud to help introduce a new generation of adventurers to the diverse experiences that our state has to offer. Information at lrlv.com or jlrreno.com.
Nevada, a landscape as diverse as it is epic, where wide open nature and wild adventure call to the curious and the brave alike.
Here we are at the oldest thirst parlor in Nevada, built in 1853 as Livingston's Exchange.
I'm exploring the crossroads in Genoa, a place full of history and mystery.
Yes, this is kind of our starter greenhouse. This is where we begin propagating our plants.
I find out how the Song Dog Native Plant Nursery is helping to restore nature in Nevada.
Is this like a needle in a haystack situation, or are they going to be all over the place?
Actually, it's like a needle in a haystack.
I'm hunting for gemstones in Ely.
We've been up about 2 minutes, and this is breathtaking. It's phenomenal. Am I seeing different states, or am I still looking?
We're actually in Nevada right now, and that's Arizona, just across the river there. That is the Colorado River down below us. This is where the river leaves the lake.
And I see one of the world's great natural wonders, the Grand Canyon. I'm John Burke. I have a passion for the outdoors.
Today we're in the Valley of Fire.
And I'm on a mission to show you the one-of-a-kind history, science, nature, and adventure you find when you step outside. This is Outdoor Nevada. The roots of Nevada, the first non-native settlement, and the beginning of a battle-born state. It's all right here in Genoa.
There's two things that you need to know. One, it's outstandingly beautiful. And two, it happens to be very historic. This is the first settlement in the entire state. And that's why we're meeting up with Kim today, who's going to give us a walking tour so we can learn more.
This little town is located at the western edge of the Carson Valley, where Kim Kopel operates Genoa Historic Ghost Tours.
How are you?
Fine,
Nice
John.
to see you.
Thanks for joining our tour today.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I'm going to fall in line. You need to take us out of here, yeah?
Please do. Everybody's
right.
ready to go. Well, we have a great, beautiful day here in Genoa, don't we? Now, where we're standing right here is Mormon Station, and this was the first building in Genoa built here in 1851. And kind of how this happened is gold was discovered over there in California. And this was the Immigrant Trail.
Over 250,000 people migrated along this branch of the Emigrant Trail. Brigham Young took note of that and sent some pioneers to set up shop.
Colonel John Reese and Stephen Kinsey were sent out here by Brigham Young, who was the governor of Utah, which this was Utah at one point. And they wanted to find a place to sell their wares to the immigrants going over the mountains there. So they built what was a hotel and a trading post.
I don't know if Colonel Reese and Mr. Kinsey were good businessmen, but they were fantastic at choosing real estate.
So they started doing a good business because more people would come, and they needed to trade wagons and oxen. Well, about 1855, during President Buchanan's term, Brigham Young was noticing that this wasn't really so much just a trading post anymore, and a government needed to be set up.
By 1857, Brigham Young decided Utah should be its own country, and fearing an invasion by the U.S. government, he called all Mormons home. By then, a number of people had moved to Genoa, and in 1861, they decided to establish the Nevada Territory.
Well, shortly thereafter, we wanted to become a state, and it was a little bit hard to get started until silver was discovered in Virginia City. So they worked really, really hard, and right at the 11th hour, they got our Constitution into Washington, D.C.
Because the Constitution had to be in Washington, D.C. as quickly as possible, the entire 16,543-word document was sent by telegraph. It cost over $4,300, the most expensive telegram to that day. On October 31st, President Lincoln declared Nevada a state.
1864, we became a state, and then we became Douglas County, and Genoa became the county seat of Douglas. And so they decided they needed a beautiful courthouse, and the very first judge that sat on the bench was Judge Daniel Webster Virgin.
Since the earliest days, Genoa has been a bustling tourist town.
When you would walk down this main street before, you would be hard-pressed to cross the street without getting run over by a horse, a Pony Express rider, a wagon. It was that busy. They say that from dawn till dusk, there was the clanging of 4 to 6 blacksmith shops in this town. And from dusk till dawn, the clanging of bar glasses in 4 or 6 bars in town. So it was always noisy.
As we head over to one of the saloons, I imagine boisterous patrons bellying up to the bar.
Here we are at the oldest thirst parlor in Nevada, built in 1853 as Livingston's Exchange. An exchange meant a place you could exchange your money for something.
Livingston's Exchange, now known as the Old Genoa Bar, remains the oldest continually operational thirst parlor in the state.
By 1873, the Masons bought this building and they added a second story to it. And then they began meeting here. They started meeting here on the second Wednesday of each month at 7 p.m. back in 1873. It's pretty cool that it still is an operating lodge. Downstairs, when you go in, it used to be the general store and mercantile store, so downstairs is all open, and that's where the Masons have their dinner. We used to have candy dance there.
Candy Dance was started by Lillian, the daughter of Judge Daniel Webster Virgin. She thought it would be a fine way to raise money to bring streetlights to Genoa. It worked. Soon, streetlights were shining on the main street through town. Lillian quickly realized they needed to pay the power bill. The Candy Dance then became an annual event. Today, it's a 2-day craft fair, and the highlights are still dancing and candy.
So at this point, this is where our tour ends. Thank you for coming to Northern Nevada, and especially coming to Genoa.
This is Genoa. There's magic in this sleepy-looking town, and the history is piled as high as the mountains behind it. It was Nevada's first settlement. Samuel Clemens stopped to drink here before he switched to his nom de plume Mark Twain. Emigrants traveling 2,000 miles in wagon trains stopped here. The Pony Express stopped here. I'm glad I got to stop here as well.
Historically speaking, how is this town different than other towns in this area?
Oh, this is where Nevada began. This is where there was no settlement here at all, as I pointed out before, and it built up around a trading post. So everything after us, when people went to branch out and maybe have land for their ranch, the towns around us came after. Even Carson City, came after us. So that historically, that's another reason why we're so proud, is because we started it all.
Native plants are Nevada's real treasure. They keep the desert alive and blooming. I'm at the Song Dog Native Plant Nursery discovering what it takes to preserve them.
Nice to see you.
Nice to meet you.
How's everything?
Good, how are you doing?
Good, good.
Well, welcome to the Song Dog Native Plant Nursery.
Kelly Wallace is a biologist with the Lake Mead Recreation Area who works with restoration projects here at the nursery.
So what goes on here exactly?
We propagate native desert plant material for restoration projects throughout southern Nevada. We work with federal, state, and local government agencies for any of their restoration needs.
So tell me more about those restoration needs. It's if there was a fire or they're building something?
It could be for construction projects, any of the disturbed areas. They'll do plantings to help facilitate natural recovery. It could be any human-caused disturbance, such as off-road vehicle tracks. So any disturbance, we can provide native plants.
And you used the word natural. So the idea is that these plants are indigenous to the area, is that right?
Yeah, so they're local native plants that are found here in the desert. That's why we keep a lot of native plant material on hand, so that we have various plants that are more common to different types of habitats, so that if someone needs to restore plants, let's say in an aquatic area, then we'll have plant material on hand for their restoration project.
Nevada has more than 2,800 native plant species. They're better for the environment than non-natives, requiring less maintenance and preventing soil erosion.
About how many plants do you do a year on average?
Right now our operation is relatively small, so I would say right now we're producing probably 10 to 15,000 plants a year, distributing for restoration projects.
And some of those are seeds that they've given you, and others they just ordered to plant.
Yes, so we can provide the native plant material for restoration. We also can grow plants out from seed, or we can use cuttings such as root material to grow plants, or taking direct cuttings from a plant like the stem.
The nursery preserves over 100 types of native seeds and also stores developed plants ready for restoration.
Once we go out in the field and collect our seed, the seed is brought back here to the nursery to be cleaned and dried for proper storage. I'll show you our seed cooler room as well.
After the seeds are dried, they're kept in a refrigerated room.
So our seed cooler room is right this way. It's maintained at 40 to 42 degrees.
Wow.
So one of the ways that we can keep seed viable for up to 10 years is in cool, dry conditions. So this is where we store all of our seed.
Wow, there's a lot in here.
Yes, there is.
Are any of these very rare?
We have some sensitive plant populations. So our seeds are stored in these airtight containers. They're sealed once they're dried, and they're labeled with identifying information of the collection site, the collection date. So that stays with the seed as we propagate it.
Really impressive.
Kelly and her colleagues plant these seeds as needed. The seeds then grow into the greenhouse before they're ready to be reestablished outside.
This is greenhouse number 1?
Yes, this is kind of our starter greenhouse. This is where we begin propagating our plants. So from our community flats there, we'll take the little germinates and we'll transplant them into these containers. And we'll let them grow for maybe 4 to 6 weeks, and there they can develop a better root system and establish themselves a little further. From these containers, we'll transplant them to these 1-gallon containers.
Oh, now they're growing up. They got their own place there.
Yes, so they need more room as they get bigger. And we'll typically keep these in the greenhouse too until they get a little bit stronger and bigger and healthier. And then we'll take the 1-gallon containers and we'll put them out on our plant beds where they can harden off or adapt to our local environmental conditions.
The native nursery also removes plants from disturbed areas and takes care of them until these locations are cleared for restoration.
And tell me about these, Kelly.
So we're actually working on the Boulder City bypass salvage right now. So areas that will be disturbed through the construction of the freeway, we've gone out and taken plants that were there, and we will take care of them here at the nursery until the project's complete and the disturbed areas are ready for restoration.
Look at those things.
Are they okay?
They are okay. So this is part of the cactus that we've gotten from the Boulder City bypass salvage. And you can see they're actually doing very well. They're flowering and fruiting.
You know, that's got to be, on some level, very satisfying to you that you are maintaining the integrity of the environment in southern Nevada. That's got to feel good.
Yeah, I love working here at the nursery.
If you're a plant lover, you can check out the many volunteer opportunities here at the Song Dog Nursery.
All right, so Kelly, I've been so interested in the plants, I haven't asked you this question. It's been burning in my brain since we started. Song dog?
So the song dog's actually a coyote, and one of the favorite food sources of the coyote is the mesquite fruits. And so as he eats the mesquite pods, he disperses seeds throughout the desert, helping to repopulate mesquite trees. I guess you can think of him kind of as a mesquite propagator, just as we here at the nursery propagate native plants to help repopulate our desert plant communities.
And you do it oh so well. Kelly, nobody would ever get to see this without you letting us in, so thank you so much.
Thank you very much for coming by.
What a pleasure. Chances are, if you've seen a government restoration project in southern Nevada, Kelly and Song Dog probably had something to do with it. They keep everything beautiful. Today we're going to do something a little different. We're going to go hunting for garnets.
My adventures in Nevada brought me to Ely, the place to be if you're looking for gemstones.
Ed!
Well, how you doing, John?
Good, how are you, sir?
I'm good, I'm good.
Well,
You're here to do a little outdoor stuff?
I am, and I understand you're the guy to talk to.
Well, I hope so.
Executive Director of White Pine County Recreation Board, Ed Spear, has been a rock hounder here since he was a boy.
And I understand you know a little bit about where I could go to hunt some garnets.
Garnets? Yeah, the closest one is Garnet Hill, and it's the most famous one. I mean, it's got lots of garnets on there.
I've heard of that one.
Yeah.
Will you take me there?
We're on our way.
Let's roll.
Known across the country as a rock hound destination, Garnet Hill spreads over a 2-square-mile area and harbors famous dark garnets.
Now, obviously this is called Garnet Hill, and probably for good reason, but is this like a needle in a haystack situation, or are they going to be all over the place?
Actually, it's like a needle in a haystack. If you look around here, all this rock has come from volcanic eruptions many, many millions of years ago, and any one of these rocks could be harboring a garnet.
When I find one, do I get to keep it?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, you get to keep them.
I'm ready to go hunting.
Perfect. Let's go get her done.
All right, let's get her done. I think you have a friend up here somewhere.
He's supposed to be up here hunting garnets himself, so we may just have some luck today with Roger being up here.
Not only do we have to find garnets, but we have to go find Roger too.
Roger Bowers is a retired geologist, or I should say semi-retired. He's
Roger,
up here.
it's a pleasure.
Pleasure to find.
Is he got here first? Is he getting all the good ones? Does the early bird get the worm? Is that what happened here?
Well, geologists normally do because they have an eye for the rock.
Roger Bowers worked here as a geologist back in the 70s. After retirement, he moved back to the place his heart never left.
How did this all get here? What are we looking for?
Well, we're on the top of a mountain, and the rock you're looking at is called a rhyolite. This is a type of rock, volcanic rock, and probably 12 to 15 million years ago, there was a volcanic eruption near here, and this was a hot ash. As it came down, it started to fuse together. I mean, this was 1,500 to 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit, and it trapped gas bubbles in it. So when you look at some of these rocks, they got these little tiny cavities in them, and they're called vugs. Well then, over the millions of years since then, the groundwater solutions, the rain, the weathering, the minerals, started forming the garnets inside of these vugs. And the beautiful thing about it, they had room to grow. So when you find a garnet, it's got the natural crystal faces on it.
And people like them for birthstones and just decoration, right?
Yeah, they're not a value as far as gem quality goes.
Yeah, but this is fun.
This
is a good time.
It's a blast.
Now, did I find one? Is that I've got the vug?
Yep.
And then this is it here. This black dot.
Those are baby garnets. If you look real close, there's 3 or 4 different crystals in there, real small.
How big can these things get?
The largest one I've seen is about the size of a quarter.
So there's several ways to do this. You can just pick through the rocks like I'm doing, but you have tools.
Yeah, I bring a hammer so I can break some of the bigger stones open. The other way to do it is just find some soil, use a shovel, and screen it, because that way Mother Nature has weathered the garnets out of the rock. But if you try to break them out, they're brittle and they'll probably break apart. So it's better to just leave them in the rock itself, which we call the matrix.
Can I try one?
Yeah.
Now, what do you hit with the pick, or?
Yeah, no, just hit it right the way you got. Hit it hard.
I'm ready to try my hand at this. Maybe I'll have beginner's luck.
You know what I noticed about people in Nevada?
What's that?
They like to dig. They like to hang around rocks a lot. They like to walk through rocks. They like to drill into rocks. All right. This isn't necessarily easy, though.
No, that's a pretty hard one.
Ooh, you earned that one. That's a pretty one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It's in there. It's in there. This is so fun. I could do this all day.
It's addicting.
It is addicting. It's exactly what it is, in a very good way.
Yeah, once you find that first one, boy, you can get hooked real easy.
All right, so I'm getting better at this. I got a couple of babies, but I think I found a teen. Look at that one.
Oh, wow. That's a good one.
The geologist said that. That wasn't me. That was, hey, you know what? I'll trade you that for this.
Okay, that's the deal. See that? Nice crystal faces on there.
See?
That's
you
what you
got to
look
know
for.
what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Hey, thank you for this very much.
Well, you're very welcome.
What a great
Thanks for-
time. I really appreciate it.
Oh, it's fun.
And
it
Ed,
really is.
thank you so much, sir.
Oh, you're welcome.
Absolutely.
One of the great things about this town is being able to do things like this for free, but it's also the people. I just want you to hear this. This guy's an auctioneer. Just give him something. So, thank you, gentlemen. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
I am sold on this town. All you got to do is dig around a little bit, and you'll find a precious gem of your own in all kinds of forms.
sheer sandy cliffsides, a chasm formed by millennia of rushing waters. It's one of the 7 natural wonders of the world. The Grand Canyon may be in our own backyard, but have you ever seen it from up here?
This is Papillon Grand Canyon Tours. These guys go out all day long. For them, it's an all-day job. For people like us, it's a once-in-a-lifetime experience.
I'm in Boulder City hopping on a 30-minute helicopter ride to the Grand Canyon with a bird's eye view of everything in between.
Chris, I know you've been getting everything ready. What do we need to know?
All right, for just before we get going, we do have to do a little safety briefing here. So we do have
Okay.
to wear these fashionable flotation devices. Gonna hand it to you.
All right. Flotation device because we're over the river. at some
Over
point.
the river and over the lake, yeah.
My pilot is Chris Kimmel. He's been flying helicopters for over 5 years and gets to do this every day.
Sometimes when you're doing something like this, you feel like you're maybe getting out of your comfort zone or something you've never done before. It's always good to have a guy that you trust. You know he knows what he's doing. Let's go for a ride.
Let's do it. You can scooch on right over beside me there, co-pilot.
All right. Co-pilot, hey, I like the way that sounds. We're ready for takeoff.
What's our altitude?
Right now, only about 300 feet above the ground, above sea level about 2,700 feet. Right ahead of us is Lake Mead. It is one of the largest man-made reservoirs on the planet. That was created back when they built the Hoover Dam, which we'll see here in a few seconds. But the lake is really popular for recreation, swimming, fishing, sailing, you name it.
Lake Mead was constructed as a byproduct of the Hoover Dam, and water actually flows through the Grand Canyon in order to get there.
You're going to see the Hoover Dam just up here to the left behind this bridge. Coming in view here in just a few seconds. It was completed in 1935, and it's about 220 meters tall, about 730 feet. It's a hydroelectric dam. The way that works is water will flow through the dam and spin giant turbines, which generate electricity.
During the Great Depression, the Hoover Dam was instrumental in putting Nevadans to work, and it served as a major advancement in American architecture. Today, it attracts tourists from all over the world.
We've been up about 2 minutes, and this is breathtaking. It's phenomenal. Am I seeing different states, or am I still looking?
We're actually in Nevada right now, and that's Arizona, just across the river there. That is the Colorado River down below us. This is where the river leaves the lake.
It's hard to believe that 20 million years ago, this temperate river was carving through and eroding the surrounding rock, effectively forming the Grand Canyon.
If you look close above the water there on the high side of the dam, you can see that white line on the rocks. We call that the bathtub ring. That is how high the lake used to be. It is losing water in the lake, and they estimate in about 7 years from now there won't be enough water in the lake to actually power the dam. You can actually see how large it used to be if you look out there. You see those dark little hills out in the valley?
Yeah.
The lake shore used to go the whole way to the bottom of those. The last time the lake was full was 1983.
California, New Mexico, and Nevada depend on Lake Mead for water. Seeing the depletion from up here makes it clear that we need to conserve it.
All right, here's the big question. How did this thing get formed?
Okay, so there's a few different arguments, but the most widely accepted theory is the erosion theory, where the river, the Colorado River here, cut down through the land over the millennia, along with the wind as well, ripping away at the walls. They do estimate the canyon to be about 17 million years old, and it was formed solely from erosion from the river and wind. That is the most widely accepted theory.
Layers of the canyon date back to over 1.8 billion years ago. That's the pale pink layer you see on the bottom. You can identify the age of each layer by its color.
It's interesting how the rock formations have different colors, like sort of that orangey.
Yeah, iron mineral in the soil here gives it the red color.
That red wall limestone formed there 340 million years ago.
You can drive through it, have that experience maybe with your family, but until you've done this, you haven't really seen its magnificence in a way that is just breathtaking.
Yeah, it's really, really breathtaking. Gonna make our descent here.
Time for us to touch down.
Here, listen, I'm going to give this to you. I'm going to do some exploring.
Alrighty, enjoy it.
Thanks. Chris, I was just checking out the river. And the walls, the height of the walls, you can't stop looking at it.
It's mind-blowing, right? And I like to point out the layers for everyone here. It's one of the best places on the entire planet where the Earth's crust is in layers like this. So paleontologists and geologists come from all over to study it.
What do you take from this?
Yeah, I'm out here every day and I try to remind myself how fortunate I am. I try not to take it for granted, and every day there's something new, and I get to show people from all over the world the Grand Canyon, one of the 7 natural wonders of the world, and so I'm very fortunate and I love it.
That's what I find about great experiences, that the first thing you want to do is you want to share it.
Absolutely.
You're a great tour guide. You took me to the perfect spot, and I just want to thank you for this today. I can't stop looking at it. You know, part of my job description is to relay an experience like this to you, but sometimes words just fail. So you and I are going to make an agreement. You're going to come here, and you're going to do this. And you're going to put down your sunglasses and your cell phone. You won't even try and take pictures, and you'll just soak the whole thing in. And you're going to find an experience that's so good, so great, so profound, it'll change you forever.